guys, it's Rogway here, and I'm back with another tutorial, and we are continuing on where we left off in the last video. And in the last video, if I just test my video here, we got Mario to move left and right using the keyboard commands on the keyboard. So we created a few listeners for this. We have an up and a down, and we're basically just affecting the walk speed of Mario based on his x-axis. So far, I hope that makes sense to you guys, and I hope that that's clear. But now let's say we want to access the walk cycle that we have built within this sprite. Okay, because if you remember from a few videos back, if we go into this Mario sprite, on the first frame, we have him standing still, but on the second frame, we have a movie clip that has a walk cycle. There it is. Okay? How can we access that? How can we get to that walk cycle when we push an arrow on the keyboard? Well, it's actually pretty easy with Animate to do that. Within movie clips, we can define what frame plays while our functions are playing, and it's super easy to do. So let's say when a key is pressed down, we want it to play frame 2 of the movie clip. Well, what we can do is inside of this function, we're going to add another line, and we're going to tell it for the Mario instance, go to and stop on frame 2. Whoops, not frame 20. On frame 2. And what this command is telling it is to look inside the Mario movie clip and go to and stop on the second frame, which was our walk cycle. Okay, we're going to add it also to the right. Mario dot go to and stop 2. This is going to use the same walk cycle. And there we go. And obviously when we let go of the key, so on key up, we're going to go to and stop on frame 1. Okay, it's going to go back to the original standing still frame, which was frame 1. Now remember, in our movie clip, we added those stops, and we're also telling it to stop here. So we're actually kind of doubling up a bit. But let's see if this works. So by adding that key down, we're going to go to frame 2 and stop. It should be the movie clip. And when we bring our key up, it's going to stop on frame 1. So let's test that out. Let's go Control Test. And look at that. When we press left and right, now we've got a little movie clip that plays a sequence of sprites within that symbol. Okay, so that's awesome. Another problem that we might notice is that when we test this, he doesn't turn left or right when we press the mouse. Okay, so ideally we would want him to flip around when we press left so that he is facing the other way. Well, there's a very complicated way of doing this. We could make a separate sequence for when he goes left, or we can just add a very simple command that when the left key is pressed, Mario's scale on the x-axis gets flipped. Okay, so -1 means flip him around. And when we press right, his x-axis, again, scale x, is equal to 1, which means it's basically going to look right. So let's test that out now. Control Test. He walks perfect, and we press left, he turns. Okay, and when we let go, it goes back to the stop frame. So this is working perfectly now. Mario is walking along our screen and he looks great. He walks and he stops when he's supposed to. Awesome. If you have ever played the Mario games, you know that the background is actually what moves. It's really not, it's not really Mario that's moving. It's the background that slides along when we move Mario. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to put in our background, and I'm just going to zoom out. I'm going to fit to window so I can see the entire stage. And we're going to bring in our background. So let's lock the Mario layer. Let's add a new layer and let's drag it below the Mario layer and let's call it background. Okay, I'm just going to enlarge this a bit so you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to go to File, we're going to go Import, Import to Stage. I'm going to look for my Assets folder and I'm going to look for the file called Background. I'm going to hit Open. And now we have, I'll just click, oh actually I don't have to click, I can show you just by moving this out of the way. We have the background, Mario background, showing here at the start. Okay, we're at the start of the level. For 1 second, what we should do is maybe unlock Mario and get him lined up with the actual ground of the level. So maybe I'll start him right there. Then we can lock it again, go back to background layer. Okay, so here's our background image. And we can see that if I use the hand here to pan, actually, you know what? Hang on a sec. Yeah. If we zoom out a bit, okay, you can see that we have the entire level on this background image. I'm just going to zoom in here to where I want to be. And like I said, if I go and I test this right now, it's not right. Okay, Mario is moving within a still background. Nothing is moving. It should be the background that's sliding along and not Mario, actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the background. We're going to convert it to a symbol. I'm going to make sure it's a movie clip. I'm going to set the registration to the center for this one. And I'm going to call it background. Or you know what, I can call it World 1, because that's what it is in the game. We're going to hit OK. And we're going to go to Properties, and we're going to give it an instance name of World 1. Okay? So World 1 is the name of the instance. It's a movie clip, all good. And now we're going to jump back into our code. Okay, so I'm just going to select that frame with the code. By the way, you can tell it's got code on it because it has the A above the keyframe. And we're going to go and affect the background now instead of Mario. So let's think about what it's doing here. We are telling it to move when we press keyboard left. We've got a walk speed. And we have it stopping on 2, and he flips around and all that good stuff. Everything's good here. Everything's good here. But the problem now is in our game loop, we don't want Mario to be the one who's walking. Instead, we're going to tell it to move the background instead, the instance that we just created, which is the background, and we're going to apply the walk speed to the background instead. So Mario will just kind of march on the spot, but the background will slide behind him. So let's test that. Oh, hang on a sec. So it's saying, oh right, it wasn't called background. It was called World 1. So that debugger is helpful. It checks to make sure everything's right. We're going to go test it again. And I'm pressing right, and look what happens. It is opposite of how it should work in the actual game. But at least it's sliding. So this is a super easy fix. we're just going to take out the negative on the walk speed for the left key and instead put it on the right key. Because as a background moves, when you press right, its x-axis is subtracting. And when you press left, it is adding. It is, the scrolling is increasing. It's moving to the right. With a character, it's the other way around. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. But now when I test it, and I push the right key, scrolls beautifully. Push the left key, scrolls beautifully. Now you notice I'll get to the end and I can just keep on going. And if I keep going the other way, I can walk right through every obstruction and I don't fall into any pits. All right, this is not working very good right now. That's going to lead us into our next tutorial. So make sure you save your work, because in the next tutorial we're going to talk about collision zones and how to stop your character from running through objects. And also we're going to look at how we can set up collision zones for the ground so we can tell when Mario will fall into those pits and eventually die. So anyway, save what you're doing. Like I said, we'll continue on with this file, so don't lose this. Make sure everything matches up. Till next time,